video is the second part of Nelson Mandela Long Walk to Freedom from Class 10 First Flight textbook. Those who are watching this video for the first time, let me tell you that we have already discussed in our part 1 video the main events, the introduction and the description of the inaugural ceremony of Nelson Mandela swearing as first black president of South Africa. So I would suggest to understand this video better, please to watch first part of the video, the link of which is given in the description box. In the second part of the video, I am going to take up the most important part of this chapter. Majorly, the most important questions are being asked from the citations from his speech, the quotes that are being delivered by Nelson Mandela. So it is important for us to understand the meaning of these quotes. So in this video, I am going to give you the detailed explanation of each and every important quote that you need to really learn for your examination. So let's start. First quote, "Never, never and never again shall it be that this beautiful land will again experience the oppression of one by another." So, in this quote, Nelson Mandela at the beginning of the speech itself tells us that South Africa has experienced so much of oppression from the whites, and after the end of the apartheid system, he says that never this land will ever experience again the oppression. He says he promises to his people, he promises to his countrymen that his land will never again face the same oppression or the same torture that they have faced all throughout these years. So that's how he starts his speech, and he says, "God bless Africa and to be independent and free always." Let's move on to the next quote. "My country is rich in the minerals and gems that lie beneath its soil, but I have always known that its greatest wealth is its people, finer and truer than the purest diamonds." In the second quote, Mandela tells us or describes the beauty of South Africa. He describes the greatness of South Africa by giving us the description of the rich and fertile soil of South Africa. He tells us that his country has rich, fertile soil with lots of minerals and gems. And that was the main reason why the whites actually conquered Africa. So he says that it is so beautiful, it's so bountiful. But more than that, people of South Africa are so great and virtuous that they are the most important asset for South Africa. Yes, the people of his land are so true, a purest form of diamond. Let's move on to the next quote. "I learned that courage was not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it." This third quote, that is the most important quotation given in the chapter and has been asked many times in the board examination. In this quote, Mandela gives a true explanation of the word courage. He tells us that courage is not actually the absence of fear. It's not that if you're not fearful that you are courageous. He wants to say that if you're not fearful, that doesn't mean that you're courageous. He wants to say courage is the triumph over the fear. He says that it is not the absence of fear, it is a triumph of the fear. Let me explain this quote with an example. For example, if you have the fear of public speaking, you're so scared of speaking in front of public, you cannot go up on the stage and speak in front of others. So according to Mandela, you will become courageous only if you try to overcome that fear. If you find a victory over that fear, that is by going on stage or try to give a speech in front of public. Maybe at the first time you might not be so perfect, but later definitely you will perfect the art of speaking. So in this way, you are becoming courageous in your life. You are having a victory or the triumph over the fear. So according to Mandela, when a person overcomes a fear or finds a triumph over a fear, then only a person can be called as courageous. And thus he says that it is not the absence of the fear, it is a triumph over it. Let's move on to the next quote. Every man has twin obligations to his family, to his parents, to his wife and children. And he has an obligation to his people, his community, his country. Every person has twin obligations. Twin obligation. Twin means two. Obligations, duty. So Mandela tells us that every man has two responsibilities in his life. That is, one responsibility is towards his family and the other is definitely towards his country, to his people, or the duty that he serves. As I said, one duty is towards his family, his parents, and other duty belongs to his community and to his people. Through this quote, Mandela explains that it is very difficult for a person in South Africa to go through these two responsibilities at the same time. Either a man can be a family person, or either he has to be away from his family and he has to go and serve his country, because he had to fight against the oppression that South Africa has faced for a long time. And Mandela tells us that while fighting against apartheid system, Mandela had to forget his first duty, that is, Mandela had to forget the duty towards his parents, towards his family, as a father, as a parent, and as a husband. So Mandela tells us it had become impossible for a youth of South Africa to obey these two obligations. So that's what Mandela tries to explain through this quote, that although a person has two responsibilities, Mandela could not serve his family. Instead, he chose to serve his country, his people, and that's how he was being called as a rebel and a revolutionary. Let's move on to the next quote. A man who takes away another man's freedom is a prisoner of hatred. He is locked behind the bars of prejudice and narrow-mindedness. The oppressed and the oppressor alike are robbed of their humanity. In this quote, Mandela tells us the man who hates is himself a prisoner of hatred. That means he wants to tell us that if a person is hating another person, he himself is a victim, or he himself is a prisoner of hatred. He is not also free of, or he is also not a person who is getting love around. He tries to tell us the one who is being hated and the one who is hating, that is a hater and the one who is being hated, they both are the sufferers. They both are on the same boat, because they both do not get to experience the feeling of love and joy in their life. So both are equally disturbed in their life. That's why Mandela says that the oppressor and the oppressed, here the oppressor are actually the whites and the oppressed are actually the blacks or the South Africans. So Mandela says that the both oppressor and oppressed are robbed of humanity. Both of them were robbed of their virtues, their values, love, affection and humanity. So that's what Mandela tries to explain. If one is trying to suppress the other, he is also being suppressed somehow in his life. Let's move on to the next quote. The last one. Freedom is indivisible. The chains on any one of my people were the chains on all of them. The chains on all of my people were the chains on me. In this last quote, Mandela gives a very important lesson. He tells us that freedom is indivisible. Yes, very true. He says that freedom is not divided, that one person has a freedom, the other person cannot have. Or one group is getting a freedom, the other group is not getting that. So he says that it cannot be done like that. Freedom is indivisible. Freedom has to be given to each one. It is a right of every person to have freedom. And that's why Mandela even says that I did not born with the hunger to be free, because when a child was born, he doesn't know that he is not free or he is free. He feels that he is free. But later, Mandela expresses that later when he became an adult, he understood that he was not free. His sisters were not free. His family was not free. His people were not free. The whole country was not free. That's why he said that I cannot be relaxed by thinking that my family is free or some other part of the country is free. The whole country has to be free from the clutches of the oppression. The whole country has to be free from the supremacy, from the torture, from the oppression. So that's what he says, that freedom is indivisible. Not a single person should be taken as slave. Each one has a right to be free and should not be a slave to anyone. So as I told you in the beginning of the video itself, that I'll be listing the main important citation of Mandela's speech. Understanding of these quotations will help you to understand the chapter in a better way and to write your answers effectively in your examination. These quotes are highly important for your chapter and they make the most of the expected questions for your examination. So through these citations of the speech, we understood Mandela as a freedom fighter, Mandela as a revolutionary, Mandela as a person, Mandela as a president of South Africa, who could be called the true leader of South Africa. So friends, I hope you must have understood the meaning of each and every quote as I had listed down. These quotes are very important from the examination point of view. So please do understand and learn it thoroughly. So let's move on to the important questions. Question 1. Explain the line, "My own 8th decade as a man that system had overturned forever and replaced." Question number 2. What reason Mandela gives to support that those who learn to hate can be taught to love? Question number 3. When and how did Mandela realize that his freedom was an illusion? Question number 4. What does Mandela say while recalling history? Question number 5. Describe the inauguration ceremony of Mandela. So friends, as I had told you in my previous video that many students find this chapter a bit difficult to understand. But now I hope that you must have understood the clear explanation of the chapter with the description of the inauguration ceremony, with the events and plus the most important citations of the speech. So for more videos and lectures, do like and subscribe this channel.